I love these guys. They're true friends. There they have their friend is being paralyzed. He's right on a stretcher. And they know Jesus is the one, and somehow this person who is paralyzed, he really needs to get to Jesus, the healer. So how can we make this possible? No way, because the crowd is so tightly around Jesus. They're bursting out the doors, they're by the windows trying to see, and everyone wants to take in what Jesus has. They're just hanging to every word from his mouth. And they're just taken by his presence, by his authority, by how he describes who God is, and how we can live connected with God. So they're so captured by this energy, by the focus of Jesus, that they don't see these friends. So what they do is they pick up the stretcher and they find a way where there is no way. So they climb up on the roof of the house, and these were houses with a flat roof. And they start pulling off the tile, pulling off the mud, making a hole, and letting that stretcher slowly and slowly down. And when the crowd, when they see the stretcher coming, well, I would make room too. Don't want him to land on my head. So they move away, and there he comes. They build this bridge. They make it possible that this person who is hurting, who is in need of a healing touch, makes it to Jesus. My friends, that's your role, that's our role. To build that bridge, to be that link in between people who are hurting, who are suffering in various ways, and Jesus. That's who we are. I remember the key mission and focus of Mother Teresa. That's who she was. As part of her order, the nuns, the Sisters of Charity, she understood herself that those who were hurting, those who were suffering, those who were dying, she held them and brought them in the presence of God, lifted them up to God. Can we comfort everyone? Can we heal everyone? No, it's so much, the need is so great, so beyond what we can do. But what we can do is be this link, be that friend, bring someone in the presence of Jesus. It's an awesome task to do. Now, St. Ignatius, after him, the spiritual exercises are named, and the Jesuits come all from Ignatius of Loyola. You think of Pope Francis right now, he's a Jesuit. There is a specific way from the Jesuit perspective how to practice your faith, your spirituality, is put yourself into the story. And that's what we can do so easily with this story. So imagine, we just looked at it right now, being a friend, helping and caring someone else. But imagine yourself being on the stretcher. And think about what paralyzes you, what holds you back. Where and how do you need that touch? And being paralyzed, feeling paralyzed, doesn't need to be physical. Have you ever been stuck or frozen, or you have seen something that you don't know how to address, how to handle it? It's an expression of fear, like you're overwhelmed, it's too much for you, I can't take this. So what do we do with that? Maybe someone comes and helps us and makes that link. So, there are situations in my life when I felt like paralyzed, not knowing what to do, how to intervene, how to act, how to help, because it was too much, just too much, too overwhelmed. I couldn't deal with it. So there are situations when we are like on a stretcher. You see how it becomes alive, the story, where we need that healing touch too. We're not just the friends. Now imagine you're one of the crowd, and I love that. I love the energy, just like the children who come to Jesus, like the Sermon on the Mount, they all settle down, they're all focused on Jesus, and that's what we are about. Our focus is to be on Jesus and to take in that energy, that radiation, that wisdom, that walking the walk with him, that way, that path, there is a better way. But sometimes I wonder, in our congregation and in other settings, whether we're so close together and making such a close-knit circle that others are left out. You see the difference? Or you see what I mean? Sometimes I notice we're so good, and you hear it from other churches. It's the friendliest church. It's like going to a family reunion if you don't belong to the family. Have you ever been standing there and wondering, do I belong here? So, with the greatest love for Jesus, we can be so close surrounding Jesus that others cannot find the access through us because we can get in the way of others to get to Jesus. So where and how, if we are in that role, do we turn around and connect with the one who is standing by herself or by himself? We have all been in that position, my friends. You know what it feels like to be that one outsider. It's not pretty to be there. It's not easy. It's just, I don't like it. So I think our invitation, what we can do is turn around. So we take it all in from Jesus, and then we turn to the others and see who else needs some help. We got fed, we got nurtured, we got renewed, we got inspired, we get that energy. Wow. And then, where and how do we turn to those on the margins and invite them in closer, and again become that link? Wow, isn't it how much in one single story? All these stories we have heard today, they're about having a heart. Have a heart. And in and through our heart, God is present, Jesus is present, so have a heart, that's what it is about. Actually, Marion Smith, several of you remember him as a retired clergy. He was part here of St. Paul's. He had this deep sense of a broken heart, that Jesus died of a broken heart. He overlooked Jerusalem. He looked what a huge mess it was. He saw the people like a flock, lost, blind, not getting it. According to Marion Smith, at least partly, Jesus died of a broken heart too. I deeply believe when we are touched, when our hearts break, God's heart breaks too. So when Jesus looks at the crowd, he feels compassion. His heart cracks open. When Jesus sees the widow whose only son died, he tears up. When Jesus' friend Lazarus died, he weeps. If Jesus does not have to hold it all together, why do we sometimes feel like, I gotta hold it all together, I gotta be in charge, I have to push my way through, I have to be strong and all? How can we soften a little bit up with ourselves too, and also with others? It's not easy, my friends. I remember our younger one, Felix, he was a baby. Well, Max, the older one, was easygoing. Felix, he was a crier, screamer, what do you call it? I don't know. We put him on the washer, put the spin cycle on. Well, take him for a ride. That didn't do it. Well, first, what do? You check if they're dry, if they're hungry. It was not it. You know what? I had more than enough. At some point, the neighbors, we lived in an apartment in Germany, the neighbors knocked on the wall. Said, quiet that baby down. Said, I wish I could. Come over and help me. I was at a loss. And that's why imagine we were two parents, we could take turns just holding the baby, holding each other, being with one another in our pain. I think our faith and what the Dalai Lama said aligns so beautifully when he says, my religion is kindness. My religion is compassion. Jesus loves through your heart. When your heart breaks, Jesus loves through your hands when you are holding someone. Jesus loves through your tears, through your compassion. It has never been different. It will always be the same. Through you, Jesus loves. Is your heart open, loving and caring for others, but also for yourself? Where and how are you kind to yourself too? Always good to come back to the center, isn't it? To the heart, where we're meant to be. Come home. That's what Jesus invites us to. Come home, come home.